Steffi Munshaw, describing herself as a student for life. Steffi holds a diploma in theater performance from Douglas College, both a BFA with a major in theater performance and Bachelor of Education from SFU, and a master's in Indigenous Educational Leadership from UBC. Performing everything from classics to contemporaries, from opera to absurdism, Steffi loves creating newly imagined works of art both on and backstage, and has worked with many theater companies throughout the Fraser Valley, designing, directing, and stage managing. She has enjoyed a long association with Chilliwack Secondary Characters Musical Theater Company. Most recently, she directed Spamalot and Mamma Mia for this local group. When not in rehearsal, Steffi keeps busy as the principal for Squiala Elementary and Secondary School. Steffi, please.
I didn't hand draw my slides, so I'm sorry to disappoint tonight. Well, good evening, folks. My name is Steffi Munshaw, and I'm here representing Secondary Characters Musical Theater Society. It's a local Chilliwack-based musical theater organization, and each year we produce a full-scale musical in Chilliwack. So we thought tonight that we would share a couple of the behind-the-scenes stories, because the audience always gets to see what's happening on the stage instead of what's going on backstage. Our first show back in 2010 was Little Women. I played Jo March, and my good friend at the time played my younger sister, Amy. And there's this iconic fight scene in Little Women where Jo and Amy get into this big fight, and I would slap her and she would slap me, and I'd push her into a chair. And one night I slapped her a bit too hard and she slapped me even harder back, and I pushed her a bit too hard into the chair, and her chair tipped back onto the back legs, and time froze as she wobbled in the air and her foot came up in front of my face. And I remember reaching to grab it, to catch her, to pull her back, and thinking, nope, I'm gonna win tonight, as she somersaulted backwards out of the chair, and we finished the fight scene with tears of laughter streaming down our face. Our next show was You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and our set designer had the brilliant idea to paint the stage floor in Peanuts comic strips. And it was beautiful, but we misestimated the amount of time it would take to paint, and we had the whole cast with blow dryers backstage moments before the curtain opened opening night, trying to dry the comics for us to walk across them. So sometimes when you work on a show, you come up with games to play backstage to keep things fresh and keep yourself interested, as it's repetitive and you're doing the same thing every night. So in The Sound of Music, when Maria sings the iconic song, The Lonely Goat Herd, we came up with a little game called the Turd Counter. And it went a little something like this. High on a hill was a lonely goat turd. Lady-oda-lady-oda-lay-hee-hoo. Loud was the voice of the lonely goat turd. Lady-oda-lady-oda-loo. Folks in a town that was quite remote turd. Lady-oda-lady-oda-lay-hee-hoo. Lusty and clear from the goat turd's throat turd. And you count every time she said the word turd, if you didn't catch that. So one of the things that we love the most about community theater is the family and the connections that are built backstage and amongst the cast and crew. And in Joseph, we had a large group of children who were involved in the show, and they got so connected when we found out that one of the children had a birthday during one of the performances. We filled the makeup room with balloons, and cake was brought in, and they were having so much fun back there that the kids forgot that they had a show to do and actually missed their cue to come on stage. So poor Joseph is singing his heart out to the audience and to just a couple kids who straggled on stage sheepishly as they realized they had missed their cue. And sometimes you get actors that really get into their roles. When we did Into the Woods, our baker decided to challenge himself to bake for the cast and crew every night of the show, which we think maybe had something to do with why Prince Charming's pants split open from front to back one night, revealing his hot pink boxers to the entire audience. Traditionally in a show, the dancers with the most training, they're responsible for assisting with certain parts of the choreographic responsibility. And I'll never forget in The Wizard of Oz, our two littlest munchkins there were semi-professional competitive dancers. So they had all the adults running drills backstage and sweating buckets as these little teeny tiny kids kept them on their toes. And speaking of actors getting a little bit too into their characters, for The Hunchback, we challenged the cast to each come up with a secret for their character and not to tell anyone. When we built these masks for the Feast of Fools, they found ways to manifest their secret into the shape of their mask. And after the show was done, we asked them to share what their secrets were. And things got a little bit intense. We had some people being like, "Your father ran over my brother with his horse cart," and other people being like, "I was stealing from the milkman," and someone else being like, "I was the milkman and I was sleeping with your wife." We even had graffiti backstage on the set from the performers as well in character. It's a tradition in theater that it's bad luck to say good luck, so you don't say good luck. You say break a leg to say good luck. Well, when we did Spelling Bee, we had a cast member who did exactly that. She finished a dance number, and while she was walking across the stage, she rolled her ankle and broke a bone in her foot. So we had to redo the whole show for her to be in crutches and a cast. In our production of Sweeney Todd, we had a few dummies backstage that we used as dead bodies in the show for certain effects. And when you'd go backstage, the crew started to have some fun with these dummies back there. One time I went backstage and all of the dummies were doing yoga poses, sun salutations backstage. Another night I went back and they all had poker hands in their hands, and they were playing strip poker. And one night I went back there and somebody had dressed them up as Buddy the Elf, and the entire backstage was full of paper snowflakes. It was beautiful. And I had to frantically pull off the elf costume so I could throw them on stage for the show. Our next show after Sweeney Todd, one of our next shows was Mamma Mia, and the fateful year 2020 that none of us will ever forget was when we tried to do our run of Mamma Mia and we had to cancel because of COVID. But then came 2021 when we again tried to perform Mamma Mia and had to cancel because of COVID. And then came 2022 when we remounted Mamma Mia and had to cancel because the entire cast got COVID. But we did finally eventually have our show that year. In the meantime, during all of this, I got engaged, I got married, got pregnant, and load in for our run of the show. I was calling the lighting designer from Surrey Memorial Hospital saying, "I'm having contractions, don't tell the cast, I'll be there as soon as I can." So this past summer, as Ian mentioned, we did have a production of Monty Python's Spamalot. And so as a way to kind of see if our potential cast was going to have the acting chops for the silliness of Monty Python, I asked everybody who came to auditions to prepare a hobby horse routine, sans hobby horse. Not really thinking anybody would do it, but wanting to give them kind of a heads up of the flavor of humor in the show. And every single actor showed up with a hobby horse routine prepared. So some would do dressage, and we're doing fancy footwork on their invisible hobby horses. Others were running laps and jumps, and we even had one performer who, unfortunately, was thrown by his invisible hobby horse. So this summer we are presenting Something Rotten, which is the musical about Shakespeare. So if you would like to join in the fun, the chaos, the memories, either on stage or off stage, we're always looking for more people to come share what we are so passionate about doing with us. So you can find us on social media as Secondary Characters, or Google us and check out our website for more information. Thank you so much.